I'm AJ Dungo. I wrote In Waves, published by Casterman, and it's a book about love, loss, and the history of surfing. I started surfing because of Kristen. She introduced me to the sport, but I have been skateboarding and sliding for, I don't know, more than half of my life. I started when I was 12 years old, and with my brothers and neighborhood kids and just skating all over the place. And being from California, it's sort of natural progression to skate and then surf and then skate some more. So I don't know, it's always been a part of my life, and it's my happy place, I suppose. Well, I love telling real stories. I like telling, I'm always interested in documentaries and biographies and memoirs. And so naturally I tried my own hand at it. And they say write what you know, and your experience is what you make your art. It's what you sort of what inspires your art. And for me, it's surfing and skating. I have so much reverence and love for the activities and the culture surrounding it and the people involved and just all of it. I love it all. So naturally, that's what I draw on, what I like to write about. And there's so many great stories in surfing and skating. And the cool thing about the subjects is it's universal. I come to Paris and I have a skateboard. It's like a passport. I'm able to meet kids on the street, and then they show me cool spots, and then we make a connection. We can't speak the same language, but we can still understand each other. So yeah, I love it. And then I just write about it and draw about it, and it's everything influences me. Everyone has their sort of wells of inspiration they go to, and for me, I feel like a how do you say, a bottom feeder, just like a coral, I'm at the bottom of the ocean and I'm just filter feeding everything. I can point to a bunch of different things, but I love so many different things. Obviously, comic artists, there's so much, the history of comics is so diverse, and it's only getting better, and there's so many new voices coming out. So obviously in art school I was exposed to a lot of comics, because you meet a lot of people that know a lot more than you do, and then they put you on to so many different things. And naturally that includes music and film and photography and painting, and your mind is sort of expanded the more you spend time with different-minded people, like-minded people. So I don't know, I'm sort of a product of my environment, and my environment was art school and going to DIY punk shows and making zines and doing comic jams with my friends at parties, and I don't know. I could go on, but I have a big background in music, so I spent a lot of time playing in bands and meeting other people in bands, and I actually didn't really pick up a pencil or study art until university. I was more focused on music. But it wasn't my idea to write about Kristen to begin with. My publisher wanted me to make a book about surfing heroes throughout history, children's book type deal. And then they changed their mind and they wanted to write about something more personal. They wanted to know why I am invested in surfing and why I'm emotionally connected. And so I told them that it was because of Kristen, my girlfriend of 8 years, and then naturally they wanted to know more about her, and what they didn't know is that she had just passed away 3-4 months before, a couple months before. So then they're like, can you explore that? Can you write a memoir where you can sort of merge the two histories, your personal history with the history of surfing? Personally and emotionally, it was very difficult, but at the same time it was nice to spend time with her memory and isolate myself and really try and remember her and memorialize her in this book, in a way that she can sort of live on forever. And yeah, it was hard. Writing about cancer is, I didn't realize how universal the experience for people is dealing with loss and grief. But when I was writing about it, I was just writing about, the love of my life, and then how she had a diagnosis, and it was like the end of the world for her. But it's just been cool to see that people can connect to it, and it resonates with them. So yeah, I guess long answer to a short question. It was hard. I mean, the most precise answer is, people can't own. I mean, I guess they could own digital files, but basically, to show art to comics collectors that want to have pages, you gotta have pages. You gotta ink pages. I love drawing this way, and that's how I had planned to make the book. But due to time constraints, I did it all in Photoshop. So this is actually pretty cool for me to have the opportunity to try and expand on the book and do it in an analog way, in a way that I'm comfortable and like how I've always drawn, with just an ink well and brush and a pen. And yeah, I mean, basically it's for collectors, people who want to own art. They want to own like a piece of paper with my mark on it, because they sort of act as like a diptych. They're kind of in conversation with each other. They're both based off photos that I had taken when Kristen was alive and when she passed away. But they were also two of the first that I worked on when I had returned to America after visiting France the first or third time. But basically, these photos that I have, I kept them in my phone, and I took them at the time. And this one is when we went on that trip to Portland that you could see in the book. There's like a small section where you could see us on this trip to the Pacific Northwest. And I don't know, it was like what was happening was like this was going up to a place called Multnomah Falls, and it's like this very beautiful waterfall. But this is when we were going back down, and the floor was really slick, and Jeff was holding Kristen in her wheelchair, and she was kind of having a hard time breathing, and it was really cold, and he was walking her backwards down this mountain. And it was I don't know, it was a lovely moment between like a brother and sister, and it was him looking after her, and obviously it's the same that happened after the fact. This was only a couple months later that she passed away, and it was like a pretty sacred moment. But we're doing a series of drawings, and like maybe I was working more from photos, and I started to like experiment more with like images that weren't directly. I wasn't looking at photos directly. So that when I drew this and I sent it to Jean-Baptiste, he said he loved it. It was more like romantic and conceptual, and he was like, "That's it. That's like the cover of the book. Like, I love it." Like I hadn't had him react to any of the pieces so enthusiastically until I drew him this, and then I sort of followed that feeling. I started to do more surfing images, less like photo-based drawings, and it was more fun. It was more of a challenge, and like I feel like it was more creative as well to try and invent things that maybe don't even exist in real life. Obviously, a face and a wave. And Celex Films decided to adapt In Waves into a feature film, and it's Sefu. It's so cool. Like, that's like a dream come true. I mean, to have a solo show in Paris and to have your book be like this really amazing, crazy success in France, like that was already enough for me to die happy. And then like someone reached out and was like, "We'd love to make your book into a film." And like it's like almost too much to process. There's just so much good stuff happening. He showed me a teaser for the animatic, and it is gorgeous. Like, I had my reservations because I just didn't know how it could turn out. It could be good or bad, but I was instilled with so much confidence after meeting them and knowing how much they love the story and how much they want to preserve Kristen's memory and just tell just Dungeons, and I can't wait to see it myself, because I just, who doesn't want to see their drawings come to life? So I hope you can all see it when it comes out. I hope I can come and visit you again when it comes out. So we'll see what happens, but I'm very, very happy at the moment. Cool. I'm working on it's not really a comic book, but it is it's a French translation of a special edition of this book called Jour Barbare by William Finnegan. And so I'm doing the cover for it, and I'm redesigning the fly leaves and some chapter images, and it's like a dream project because I'm in love with that book, and it helped me a lot when I was writing In Waves. So the opportunity to work for one of my heroes and also have it be released for the French is two gifts in one. But as far as comics, I have a lot of plans, but the success of In Waves keeps coming. It's just there's more translations and more. There's a film adaptation. I had to do all this work for the show, so I haven't really started on a new one. But I've written some stuff, and I have a couple ideas. One of them is another memoir, and then another is maybe a collection of short stories. So yeah, we'll see. I just need to put pen to paper and get it done so that I can come visit you guys again and just give you guys more stuff to read. But yeah, once it's out, I'll let you know.